On the Fox News show Outnumbered, they had a conversation about healthy food in schools. And believe it or not, Bill O'Reilly was the reasonable person here. So that's how you know that the rest of them had to be off in La La Land.
I told you a little bit earlier this week about First Lady Michelle Obama's mandated study to weigh and measure 3,000 children in daycare to help fight childhood obesity. I had a little rant that day. But the food police are not stopping there. In New York City, little ones in daycare will be limited to just 4 ounces of juice a day and no sugary juices at all for kids under 2. Other new rules restrict the amount of time children spend sitting to less than 30 minutes a day. Reaction from parents is mixed. Bill, yes. My goodness gracious, is there any danger? Is there a slippery slope? I don't know. Your thoughts on the nanny state?
Well, I want to know if the 4 ounces of juice that the urchins get to drink, does that count?
What'd you call them?
Urchins.
Oh.
Does that count the amount they spill on themselves, too?
Oh.
I mean, you know,
You're a dad.
Is it just intake or is it stuff that's all over there?
Good point.
Look, I think it's important in America for irresponsible parents to have a wall. So I understand the social engineering. Because we have a lot of parents in this country, unfortunately, who don't care what their children do, don't care what they eat, don't care how they behave, how they speak, what they learn. So the public school system sees kids walk in, and their diet is terrible. And if this is food distributed by the public school system that we pay for, they should have regulations. I have no beef with that. It is nanny state-ish, but it's necessary because we have so many irresponsible parents.
Yeah, and when you look at the sugar element of this and the number of kids who are now developing diabetes and dental problems.
It's a serious problem. Fast food, junk food. I mean, these kids that eat pizza every single day.
Right?
But the road to hell is often paved with good intentions, Bill. I mean, I think that they are well-intentioned. They want to get kids healthy, but we're hearing reports of kids being hungry at the school, that this is causing mental problems. I mean, I'm flashing back to the day when we had the Presidential Fitness Award and they would weigh us all in school. It's pretty traumatizing, especially if you're the fat kid.
I don't think they should be weighing anybody. Again, it has to do with developing a curriculum that's active. Nothing wrong with that. We'd all agree, right?
Sure.
We want an active curriculum. You got to go outside. You got to walk a little. Here's a ball. Don't hit the other kid with the ball. And here's the food, a balanced thing. And if little Johnny doesn't want to eat it and he's hungry, tough.
But they'll create a generation of people with eating disorders because they're so, especially girls.
Oh, Andrea.
Healthy food in school is giving kids mental problems and eating disorders, according to Andrea Tantaros. She just said health food in schools is, quote, the road to hell. She said the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Now, by the way, is there any evidence whatsoever for eating disorders or mental problems coming out of a program like this because they want kids to eat healthy in school? Absolutely not. She made that up. The only area of agreement is the idea of like, well, you shouldn't like weigh kids in front of other kids. That's just cruel and weird. I agree to that. Everybody else seems to agree to that. Liberal, conservative, they'll likely agree to that. But to vehemently oppose the idea of healthy food in schools, I didn't even know that this was a debatable thing. Like, how is this debatable? Nobody's saying, like, hey, you can't pack your own lunch, your mom, your parents, whatever, can't pack your lunch, and then you come in and you got pizza that day or whatever the fuck. That's fine. No problem with that. But what they are saying is, at the schools themselves, why shouldn't they just have a balanced diet menu, a meal plan that's smart and that won't make the kids sick and won't make them obese? Like, I don't know how there's two sides to this issue. When Bill O'Reilly's the more reasonable one on the panel, and he's like, I don't see a problem with this. They just want to have healthy food there. When he's the reasonable one, you know you're in trouble. Her argument was just, no, because eating disorders that are non-existent are happening even though they're not happening, and because kids are having mental problems from this. No, they're not. You just made that up. And also, she goes, we're getting reports of kids being hungry. Oh, are we? And what happens when they tell their teacher and they're in first grade? I'm hungry, miss whatever. Here's the response. Oh, okay. Well, let's get you a little snack. Well, I mean, what the fuck do you think? We're in Boko Haram held territory in Somalia? Like, I'm hungry. Sit down and shut up and start reading that Quran right now. No. What are you talking about? The idea that, like, there's an epidemic of hungry kids now in the schools because of the meal plan that they have there. Understand, if there are hungry kids in the school, you know what that's from? From you and your party cutting food stamps nonstop. If there are hungry kids in the school, it's because you guys have gutted the social safety net. But now, when it comes time to attack a healthy food program in the schools, now all of a sudden you're concerned about hungry kids. When it was the food stamp debate, you didn't give a fuck about hungry kids. Well, here's the reality. Do kids get hungry sometimes in school? Yes, they do. What's the solution to that? You give them a fucking apple. You give them something healthy. I believe the debate here is, do we give them Gushers every day and Lay's chips every day and all this other shit in the school paid for with our tax dollars? Or if we're going to fund it with our tax dollars, should we give them an apple or peaches or something that's just more healthy across the board? And in that realm of debate specifically, hey, if we're paying for it, the taxpayers, what should we give them? I don't see two sides to it. You give them healthy food because we're paying for it. I don't want taxpayer-funded diabetes for these poor kids. Call me crazy.